Hey, what's up, guys? It's Dave again. Today we're talking about yet another way that you can record an entire drum set with one microphone. And this was inspired by Al Jackson Jr., who was the drummer with Booker T and the MGs. He played on a ton of the Stax Records catalog, and he also played on a lot of the early Al Green records. And those records are incredible. The way they were produced, the way they were performed, the way they were arranged. It's just fantastic, and yet it has this sort of raw, honest quality to it. It's not overproduced at all. For the most part, they just sound like real musicians in a room performing the hell out of these songs. So definitely check them out. But in my research about that, about how they recorded this stuff, I came across several photos of Al Jackson Jr. behind the kit with a single ribbon mic in front of the snare drum. It was sort of between the hi-hat and the tom, and it was picking up the whole kit. From what I've been reading, it seems like that's actually how they mic'd up his kit a lot of the time. And if you listen closely to the drum sound on those Al Green records, it definitely sounds like that, because it's a very fat, punchy sound with not a lot of bright high-end from the cymbals, and it's actually a little bit light on the kick and heavy on the snare, which just gives it this fat groove. So I wanted to see if I could replicate that. Now, they were using these old RCA ribbon microphones, which if you try to find one nowadays, they're going to cost you a lot of money. But luckily, there's a lot of people making microphones that are supposed to sound like that now, and they're much more affordable. So this one that I have here is the Golden Age Project R1 Mark II. It's just your basic passive ribbon microphone, but it sounds fantastic. So there's a couple of things about ribbon mics that make them sound different. First of all, they have a sort of reduced high end. They're a warm sounding microphone, not a very bright sounding microphone naturally, although you can of course boost the high end EQ. It's there, it's just attenuated. For me, the biggest thing, the most characteristic thing about ribbon mics is the way they handle transients, almost like it's got a built-in compression, which just makes everything sound really fat and sort of bubbly sounding. I can't, these are very poor descriptions, but if you've used these microphones, you probably know what I'm getting at. It's that transient response that makes them sound so great on clean guitars. It makes them handle drums in a very different way. So that's a big part of the sound of the microphones. And although this technique is very similar to another technique that I've talked about on my channel before, which is described in my video linked below, the $50 drum sound, it's very similar to that, but the fact that it's a ribbon mic and the fact that it's on the opposite side of the kit really does give it its own sound compared to that. And the way I've got it set up right now is actually just running into my trusty old Yamaha mixer. I've got the lows boosted to bring out the kick. I've got the highs boosted to bring up the cymbals a little bit. And I've got the built-in compression on. And that's basically it. It's running into the camera after that. I really hope this helps. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Leave me another comment if you have another idea for something you want me to talk about in a video. I'm glad to do it. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.